Franceen Friefeld, a leading dietitian in the food industry for more than 30 years, is on a mission to debunk food deception and fuel your passion to eat well. Fran's humorous, insightful, and practical advice about healthy eating has made her a sought-after source on TV newscasts, the host of her own TV cooking show, and a guest on other popular radio and TV programs. Fran is a nationally celebrated author of 3 books and a sought-after public speaker who has developed healthy dining programs at more than 6,000 establishments nationwide. Fran is also a loving and busy wife and mother. She wants to feed her family and herself healthy and delicious food, but she doesn't have time to grow all of her own vegetables or prepare every meal from scratch, and neither do you. So she's here to tell you how to incorporate healthy meals into your busy life, how to ignore the deception and scare tactics fed to you by the diet and food industry, and how to enjoy eating well.
What happened to the days when food was a true enjoyment of life? When we weren't worried about eating carrots because of their high glycemic index and potatoes because of our low-carb diets? Our healthy eating concerns have turned into food madness. People either starve, overeat because of diet-induced starvation, or avoid many nutritious foods needlessly because of food extremists who claim that giving them up is the answer to better health, miraculous weight loss, or the fountain of youth. Extremists may be well-intentioned, but they're making us frantic. And the food industry ups the crazy factor with labels and many claims that are hard to decipher, much less trust. Labeling food as non-genetically modified doesn't tell us whether it's actually healthier than another. Foods labeled as natural or organic are not always better for you than their processed counterparts. In 2015, Americans spent more than $6 billion on gluten-free foods, but $420 million of that money was misspent on false hopes for miraculous outcomes from eliminating gluten, because only 1 in every 15 persons medically need to follow a gluten-free diet. And don't get me started on those who claim we need to grow everything ourselves and that we must avoid all processed foods and cook everything from scratch. In the time-starved, hectic world we live in, reality dictates most of us need a little help from convenience, and the good news is that not all processed foods are alike. Unfortunately, the terms convenience or processed have a bad stigma, as they tend to conjure up images of whoopie pies, chips, donuts, and cheese puffs, obviously not the most nutritious choices. But there are many time-saving products such as frozen vegetables, dairy products, fruit juices, canned legumes, and vegetables, quick-cooking whole grains, and more, which are technically processed, yet have the ability to provide our bodies with an abundance of beneficial nutrients. In addition, manufacturers are becoming more socially responsible than ever before, populating the grocery shelves with an ever-increasing amount of healthier and environmentally friendly products every day. Our preoccupation with eating the right foods has almost become a social pastime. Listen to Everyday Banter, and you'll find it revolves around the newest diet book or a juice fast that's done miracles for your memory. My name is Franceen Friefeld, food industry expert and LifeSmart nutritionist, and I'm fed up. I'm tired of all the scams, food fraud, and nutrition misinformation that's sending America into a frenzy. My mission is to stop the food madness and deception and make healthy eating fun and doable. Who am I to stop the madness? I have over 30 years' experience as a food industry dietitian, working with food manufacturers and restaurants, and so I've seen the industry's madness firsthand. I have seen how manufacturers create labeling tactics to communicate sometimes good and sometimes misleading facts. I have observed wrong nutrient information on packaging and menu items. And I've experienced how some chefs love to douse their food with salt and fat, even in so-called healthy restaurants. One of the biggest culprits is this. Many restaurants want to make sure their food glistens and shines when it leaves the kitchen, and they accomplish that with fat. You think you're making a healthy choice by ordering a piece of grilled fish in a restaurant, but they can use close to a half a stick of butter on that grilled fish. Not to mention the additional fat added after it's already cooked. I have had enough of the deception. I will expose it and I'll fight it to create a world of wellness that's truthful, trustworthy, and clear. If fad diets, programs, and supplements really worked, North Americans should be the thinnest people in the world. Americans spend some $60 billion a year on weight loss, but still rank among the heaviest people on earth. $60 billion! That's a lot of motivation for companies, authors, and other developers to keep inventing ridiculous regimens that promise fast results for fat loss, a flatter belly, thinner thighs, and a speedy metabolism. Until we stop the deception, these companies and people will continue to prey on those who are desperate to believe the next diet will be different, the next program will fulfill its promise of a perfect body and a lavish life. Here's the truth. When it comes to weight control, heart health, and other food-related illnesses, there's no such thing as a quick fix. And the only changes you should make to your diet are ones you can maintain for life. That's right, for life. So if you don't want to eat cabbage soup for 3 meals a day for the rest of your life, then don't start a cabbage soup diet. Sounds simple, right? Unfortunately, it's not. And we're bombarded with so many fads, gimmicks, outright deceptions, and unrealistic bodies of women who look like human coat hangers and men who look like Hulks that our judgment suffers. I'm here to stop the deception. And not only because I'm a registered dietitian with over 30 years experience in the food industry, it's also because I personally lived in the madness and deception for 25 years. From a very young age, I was surrounded with people who were fixated on food and weight, commenting on people who were fat, the number of calories in my food, and friends that were striving to have the perfect bodies. I was naturally thin up until the age of 21, when partying with my friends and late-night snacks packed on 30 pounds. That's when my obsession took control. I started to diet for the next 20 years, and my weight roller coastered from 115 to 150 pounds, down to 100 pounds, and back up again. The point here is that at my largest size, I wasn't extremely overweight, but my relationship with food was out of whack as I was fluctuating 50 pounds up, down, and back again. I was caught in the depth of the deception and madness. At my highest weights, I tried every fad diet under the sun, hoping for instant, permanent results. At 24, I dropped down to 90 pounds, suffering from anorexia and struggling with no period, no energy, and constant obsessive thinking about food for 7 long years. I looked awful and I felt worse. But because we live in a world of food madness, I was frequently complimented on how great I looked. Can you imagine? I weighed 90 pounds, 30 to 40 pounds below my healthy weight, and wore children's clothes, and yet people kept saying they wanted to look like me? Even when I was admitted to a hospital for heart palpitations and confessed to the doctor that I might be suffering from a lack of nutrition, he responded, "You look fine to me." Really? I was skin and bones, and the palms of my hands were orange due to the excessive amounts of carrots I ate to stave off hunger. What was he thinking? My wake-up call was when I started to lose my hair, and I became sick and tired of thinking about food all the time and constantly being sick and tired. I eventually gained weight back, but my relationship with food was still an unhealthy one. Off and on dieting brought my weight up even higher to 160 pounds. And that's when I became tired of being the victim of the madness. I became so angry at the madness around me, the articles and commercials about being thin, the fad diets that never delivered, and the so-called healthy food products that packed on the pounds. I was fed up and I knew I needed to do things differently. So I finally decided to stop dieting. That's right, I stopped dieting altogether to see what would happen if I started listening to my body and stopped depriving it. That's when my life completely changed. As a dietitian, I wanted to make a difference. I focused my career on the food industry, helping restaurants and food companies serve more wholesome, nutritious foods rather than on diet counseling. As a 3-time published author, a sought-out national speaker, and TV show host, I spread my message about the importance of focusing healthy eating on the positive, on learning how to eat, not how to diet, a focus on feeling full and satisfied, not hungry and deprived, and I continue to use this as my guiding principles until this day. Once I adapted these principles and stopped dieting once and for all, and started a moderate exercise program, ignored the madness around me and listened to my body, I finally landed at my comfortable, healthy weight of 125 pounds. After 25 years of being caught in the madness, I became at peace with food. I've been riding the wave of wellness rather than being caught in the undertow, and I'm inviting Americans to ride the wave with me. Why did I and why might you preoccupy about the foods that we put into our mouths? Deception and confusion. Fear-inducing headlines pop onto the internet and social media channels with lightning speed. Pistachios cause sore throats. Pork causes high blood pressure. Bread makes you fat. Headlines like these make us perpetually anxious. And worse, we pass these fears on to our children. We're talking to them at young ages about calories, dieting, and weight control, interfering with their natural instincts to eat when they're hungry and stop when they're full. We're teaching them to have damaging, unhealthy relationships with food. And the overload of information that captivates us also confuses us. We walk into a supermarket and see aisle after aisle of food that promotes healthy features while disregarding the unhealthy ones. Why don't you enjoy all that sugar, fat, and salt with that so-called real cheese and so-called real fruit in those products? We sit down at a restaurant and order from the Eat Smart part of the menu, and we get served 3 times as much food as we would normally eat at home. Are these foods healthy just because a restaurant, a food package, or a celebrity tells us it is? Of course not, and deep down we know this. But we don't dig beneath the surface and accept at face value what they preach because it's just too much trouble to analyze. So I will do it for you. I'll let you know when studies are flawed, which big brands with big enough pockets are repeating tests until they get the results they want. I'll tell you what you need to know, whether it's good news such as the restaurants that are now providing nutrition information and posting calories on the menu, to the bad news, the ones who are displaying inaccurate numbers. I'm fed up with being force-fed information that makes us scared, confused, and unhealthy. And I believe you are too. So I'll help you restore the sanity and bring the excitement, the fun, and truth to grocery shopping, to dining out, and eating in. I'll praise the companies, products, and menu items that are as healthy as they claim to be, and pan those that lighten our wallets while loosening our belts. I'm Franceen Friefeld, published author, industry expert, media professional, TV show host, and LifeSmart nutritionist, and I'm ready to stop the deception and fuel your passion to eat well. Are you?